And we are live. Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing? I am Liz Allen, and I need to get used to saying I am a business improvement training consultant. And I have with me tonight one of my previous students. Yeah. Oh, this is so exciting. I have Simon Day with me tonight. And we are going to be talking about how Simon's managed to get into continuous improvement and be a continuous improvement manager. Simon, welcome. Live this time. That's brilliant, honestly. Last time, when was it? Was it November? I think it was.
Yeah, it was beginning of November. No, yeah, mid-November, I think.
Yeah, and at that point in time, we did a pre-record, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it was it didn't go quite to plan because I had somebody replacing our door, so there was a lot of noise.
Yeah.
So I had to keep muting myself. You may keep having to keep mute yourself tonight, mightn't you? Because
yeah,
tonight it's the witching hour of small children going to bed.
Yep. Yeah. We've got little one's going to bed. I'm hoping he's in bed now, but yeah, so he's had a few meltdowns this evening, so he's not happy, so he hates everyone, and he'll let everyone know about it.
I do remember that. In fact, my son James, so he's 16 now, and we were having a real clear out of all the stuff that was kind of lying in a drawer that he has in his room. And some of it went as far back to kind of like preschool. We just collected loads of stuff, I know. And one of the things he put on on something he was we were looking at was pet hates going to bed. So I know exactly what you're saying. He's now 16 and he still hates going to bed.
Yeah, both mine do. Yeah.
Well, that's usually because he wants to go on the Xbox. Does my son? I don't know whether you're.
My little one. It's normally a case of he wants to carry on playing. It's like I don't want to go to bed. I want to play. It's like no, you need to go to bed now.
Oh well, that's just typical, isn't it? You know what kids are like. It's just So we may have a little bit of muting going on tonight, mightn't we?
Fingers crossed not.
But that's the joy of working from home, isn't it? And actually, it's not really working from home time is 8 o'clock anyway. So we're just here to have a chat, and I really appreciate you taking your time out again.
That's right. No, it's always good to talk to you, Liz.
And you, Levy, and you, honest, it's brilliant. So I've got a number of questions to talk to you about. And like I say, we were talking about the fact to start off with that you're in Bracknell, so you're not that far away from me. And James is on half term, and actually, your kids are back to school this week, which is really weird, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think Bracknell was probably, I think, we're the only place in the area that seems to be was on half term like last week because where I work, they're all on half term this week. Even at the youngest football club, we've got a match on Saturday. We're supposed to have a match on Saturday with one of our club's other teams, and we've had to sort of postpone it because that team can't actually get any. They can only get 3 players because of half term. So it's absolutely bonkers.
I'm just putting a note on Facebook because I have my screen split, so I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just splitting the screen. I've got it. So I've just said we're on live now. So hopefully we'll actually get some people. It's funny. The Facebook algorithm does really weird things, and sometimes it shows that we're live in the group, and other times it doesn't. So it's kind of, I don't know. It gets a little bit sketchy. So we'll see who comes, and then like I say, people do tend to watch on replay. So if you've got any questions for Simon and you're watching on replay afterwards, then just put #replay. And like I say, there might be a couple of people who know you who might be watching on replay. So we shall see. But just kind of going back, really, I met you, and I know we talked about this before, but because it was pre-recorded and there was all that noise in the background, I just wanted to kind of just go over it again. Really, we met in 2016, didn't we? Which just seems a lifetime away now, COVID and all and everything. But I was delivering continuous improvement training at the company that you were working at that point in time, wasn't it? And yeah, what I suppose I'm going to ask you, because people will want to know, how did you end up becoming a continuous improvement manager? And I mean, what were the things we we touched on this before, but what were the things that interested you about continuous improvement, how it resonated with you? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah. I think for me it was a case. Obviously, when I was first introduced to it, it was obviously the previous company, and the department I was working in, it had only really been around, I think, probably about for a year or so, and it was a kind of that we'd kind of been given a bit extra space, just equipment dumped up there. Cause and it was really a case. Obviously, it wasn't the space really wasn't working in terms of actually efficiency, and we had a workshop supervisor called Bill, and basically he kind of came in and he sort of said, "Oh, let's have a look around this place. Let's sort of have a sort out." And he introduced me to sort of the waste and sort of production line setup. We kind of went. I was like, "Oh, yeah, this actually, yeah, I like this. It resonates with me." It kind of, and so yeah, so we kind of started from those principles, and then went, "Okay, yeah, cool. This is working. This is really helping." And just, I mean, having conversations with him about some of this sort of stuff, it was that kind of it really sort of, yeah, it clicked with me, and suddenly went, yeah, yeah, kind of, why are we doing these things the way we are when there's better ways of doing it? And yeah, so for me it was a case of that kind of got that thirst for sort of knowledge going from that particular area. So yeah, I think about a year or so later, I enrolled myself on sort of a little online course, free online course, and sort of and that then kind of gave kind of some of the theory behind what I'd been doing with the guidance from Bill. And yeah, that kind of then suddenly kind of going, yes, this makes more sense. And kind of every time that I've perhaps done some training or expanded my knowledge on it, you kind of got a bit of kind of going, yes. So it's kind of just, and I think for me, kind of it fits with sort of my personality as well. Because I think I'm very much, I like order. I can be a bit messy, but I don't like I don't like mess, and it's kind of, I don't like doing things the long-winded way. I like if I can do something in 10 minutes, I'll do it in 10 minutes rather than 20 minutes.
Yeah, I totally get you. I don't see the point. And I think because you learnt lean tools, didn't you? So it was lean tools that I took you through. And actually, out of how many people did we have on the team at the time? Was it about 10 or 12?
I think around about 10, I think.
Yeah, and at the time, you were probably the one who actually had that little bit of knowledge, whereas kind of your teammates didn't really have lots of knowledge, did they?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think kind of, obviously, to be honest, myself, I became kind of quite close to Bill. We kind of, and that, I mean, he worked with our department probably perhaps more than he did at other departments, just because obviously our department was so young. We had quite a few sort of, I think at one stage I was the only kind of permanent member of the team. We had kind of all these new people coming in and going. So it was a case where kind of we kind of needed perhaps that bit extra support the way other teams didn't. So yeah, kind of got to spend that quite a bit of time with him, learning those bits, and then I think actually doing this sort of online course myself, I'd probably kind of gone into the sort of course of you with that knowledge that other people didn't, and kind of, yeah, I'd sort of seen it in practice where, because obviously people didn't want to come down to our department. It was our area was sort of the dirty, sort of horrible area, so people were like, we're not going down there. So yeah, I think perhaps some people hadn't really seen the kind of it in practice and gone, oh wow. But I think as soon as we started doing training, perhaps they were coming around, they suddenly went, yes, this does work, and it does make sense. Actually, yeah, we want to know about it now.
and I think actually we resonated as well, didn't we? You know, and I remember, so you were really my guinea pigs to start off with, because I felt quite bad at the time because because of the fact that we were I was literally writing the program. I shouldn't be saying this, but I was writing the program sometimes until 9 o'clock. Well, sorry, 11 o'clock the night before. I don't know whether you remember. One time I came in and I was a bit like, "Oh my God, I'm so tired," you know. And it was just because there was so much content to write and make sure. And I am really pernickety about the content that I write. And I will tweak and tweak and tweak it. So I probably was my own worst enemy, being a perfectionist, you know.
I think the sweets got you off the hook on that. We used to bring the sweets for us to sit and eat. I think you should be bringing the sweets and we sit and eat them while you're doing the training. That's exactly off the hook.
So do you remember the game that we did with the catapult game, and we kind of we did use that, didn't we? The catapult,
I think so.
Right? And we had the chocolate snowballs that most people were eating. Hey, but that was what they were there for, you know. So and actually, so that catapult game can be used for so many different things anyway. But I just had, because the regular one cost about 200 quid, and the company I was working for at the time, there was no way they were going to pay 200 quid for the proper real kind of wooden catapult, the statapult. I don't know whether you've seen it. So I ended up buying 2 kiddies ones that were kind of about 15 quid each, because I thought I could probably put those 2 on expenses. And I think it was you guys that somebody broke it, or one of them. But it wasn't you. It definitely wasn't you. But actually, you know, like I say, you can use a lot of the so you know that I've always been one of those people where I like to use activities and fun. I want to make the training fun, and hopefully that's what you'd kind of remember.
Oh yeah.
You know, that, you know, and sort of like, did I use the buzzers for you guys? Did I use? Can you not remember?
I think I remember was there like a spaghetti one?
Oh, we used, yeah. But I think maybe it was a bit later when I started bringing like cow noise buzzers and stuff like that for everybody, you know. And just
I think I've got a vague recollection of buzzers on the some. I can't remember some form of train. I do remember something about buzzers. I can't remember the details, but I remember buzzers at some stage.
It's one of those things where I like I say, I just think maybe it's the big kid in me, but I just want people to actually use what they've learned, you know, or remember what they've learned by introducing really fun things, you know. And so at the moment, so as you know, so I've been writing some programs to deliver online, doing not similar, kind of taking people on a journey through the tools and techniques and understanding them. But I'm trying to I want to deliver it online like this, because I think there's a real place for delivering them online. And I've been working with a game developer. So some of the games that we've done, we've actually got an online version of them. So do you remember the bingo game that we talked about with the sweets?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get sweets for this one, but I've actually got an online version. I have to show you it. We've got an online version. Did I ever show you our kind of mascot and it's called Muda? And you know what Muda means? Yeah. He was actually based on something that my husband got me, which looks like this. Can you see that? So basically, Muda is based on my writing pad, which is kind of a bit weird, isn't it? But actually, it works really well, and the whole point is to just kind of give people a similar experience online, because you know, I don't think it's detrimental to provide that online. I've lost my page now because I've got all my questions, and because I showed you that I lost my page. But listen, so So you've said about your journey into continuous improvement, but just explain how you managed to progress to continuous improvement manager. What were the building blocks? I mean, you can talk about what we did if you want, but I mean,
Yeah.
the whole building blocks to where where you are now.
Yeah, well, I think yeah, I mean, for me, obviously, that I had that introduction through my workshop supervisor, and yeah, obviously did that sort of first because obviously we did the training with yourself, which was which kind of that was that next step, and I think for me it was a kind of yeah, I almost became kind of the go-to person at that company, kind of if they wanted something done with continuous improvement or someone needed help, it was a kind of okay, let's go speak to Simon because I guess the sort of the font of all knowledge, not all knowledge, but kind of that's kind of at that company I was. So yeah, kind of, and I guess I was looking for those opportunities. Kind of the more we did it, the more kind of I was like, I really like this, I really enjoy this. I mean, the department I was working in, I guess we kind of maxed it out to the best we could. We kind of
Mm.
we had almost like a production line sort of layout in the workshop as best we could. I mean, we had Kanban boards for tracking for tracking jobs. And yeah, we had sort of so we kind of had we would do as best everything we could, and we had process maps everywhere, kind of at each station, rather than kind of okay, like here's your manual, here's your work. Kind of let's just mount them on the table so people can have a look and see what's going on. And yeah, it's got to say to us a case of what's that next step. And I realised that perhaps that company wasn't in a position to be able to offer me what I wanted. I kind of wanted really to
Mm.
move full time into
Mm.
continuous improvement. I enjoyed what I was doing there. I enjoyed the people, but it was a kind of something was saying I want to do continuous improvement full time. When I kind of been like that for sort of 2 years, it was a case of I really need that. I mean, I've been lucky there that I was able to do a sort of a Lean Six Sigma Green Belt course, which kind of that then added more in. It's kind of oh yes, like I can really kind of at that stage I felt I can really sort of do things which perhaps isn't available here. And it was that kind of
Yeah.
I need to go and do something else. I need to kind of explore my opportunities elsewhere. And yeah, kind of I started obviously looking. I mean, I had a couple of sort of places of interest sort of further afield. But yeah, I mean, and to be honest, I was really lucky to obviously I now currently work for Cochlear. And yeah, kind of I'll be honest, I think I had I sort of set my CV there. As you do, you guys send your CVs out. You kind of go, oh, I wonder if I hit back. And I heard back from them about 4 days before Christmas. I sort of went into kind of had a phone call with them. I said, can you come in after New Year? So I was like, okay,
This is
yeah,
over a
okay.
year ago, isn't it?
This was ending 2019, beginning of 2020. So I've been
Oh,
there sort
was
of so
it? I
yeah,
didn't
I've been
realise
there
you'd
yeah,
been
I've been there
that
2
long.
yeah, I've been there 2 years now. So yeah, I kind of went in for the interview and kind of I don't know, I felt quite relaxed going for the interview. I don't know why not. I mean, normally I get really nervous, and that kind of stuff. I felt quite relaxed. You kind of go, something's not right here. But yeah, I had the interview with two lovely ladies. Kind of I came home. They said obviously we've got to interview a few more people. We'll let you know in a week or two. I came home within an hour of being home. The phone rang. It's a kind of what's this? So rang up, rang and said we'd like to offer you the job. And I'm not joking.
No,
I was dancing around my flat,
I'm not surprised.
and that. But yeah, I kind of I was yeah. So I joined there February 2020. So I officially had it was 4 weeks and 1 day in the office until obviously
Oh, till
that
COVID.
pandemic hit. Yeah, so I kind of came home and I then spent probably the next yeah. I've been back in spits and spurts, obviously, just because obviously my role, I've been helping out obviously our customer service department, looking for improvements for them. So it's a kind of the best way to do that is to be in there with them. Obviously, they've been in the whole time. So yeah, kind of I'm sort of yeah. I spent probably the first 9 months. It's well. 9 months after that first month, exclusively working from home, kind of
Mm.
learning the job from home,
Oh,
sort of meeting people virtually. So, yeah, it was a case. It was a very strange way to start, really.
yeah, baptism of fire and kind of in a
Yes,
very different way.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, really, yeah. I mean, well, my manager's amazing, but yeah, obviously it's a case of trying to get that kind of support off them was a bit more difficult because obviously they were at home, sort of in like Sussex. I'm in Berkshire, so it's that kind of so you're having to tie up obviously over teams. But yeah, I mean. And be honest, it showed me how useful sort of Teams can be, because I mean
Mm.
now, whereas at the beginning it was suddenly a case of going, I've got to talk to someone over the computer, and it seemed really strange that you kind of go, I'm not sure I want my camera on, but now it's a kind of, it feels almost just as natural to actually walk up to someone in the office. But yes, I've been there 2 years now. I'm absolutely loving it. It's kind of, it's kind of, I think it's been everything I expected it to be and more. I think kind of work moving full time continuous improvement. It kind of is that. I think at the time it seemed like, okay, this is. It was a very daunting sort of jump, because it was a case of almost going from, I'm doing continuous improvement sort of maybe 50% up to 50% of the time, to suddenly I'm going to be doing it 100% of the time. And I
100%.
think they're those fears of, am I actually going to like it as much as I hope I'm going to like it? So that it was very
Yeah,
much a case of me sitting there kind of going, should I do it, shan't I? But I've kind of, it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made, kind of
fantastic.
in my sort of professional life.
Just remind me what Cochlear do, or just
So
let everybody know what Cochlear do.
so Cochlear is the world leader in basically make the cochlear implants for deaf people, so
Hmm.
for people with partial full deafness. Obviously, so if you see someone, it's the cochlear is you have your cochlear implant, which is where they plant a device under the skin, and it feeds actually a coil into the cochlea of your ear, and you'll
Yes.
sometimes see them with sort of a little box sort of type, or like little um, machine bit sort of just hooked on the back of their ear.
Yeah.
And if it's got like a
Yeah.
wire to a little cover, that's a cochlear implant. And then we also do
Oh.
this is called sort of bone conduction. So this is what's like it's another little. What they'll do is they'll put a titanium abutment, actually screw it into your skull. And you have this little
Oh.
box which then takes obviously the sound, and basically it puts the sound through your skull, which is absolutely amazing, because I got to do the training, the product training when I started there, and they have these test pieces which you can put to the bone, and you can actually hear this through this device through your bone, because in actual fact, quite a bit of our hearing is through bone conduction anyway. And
Wow.
I think it's absolutely amazing technology. It's kind of, you listen, because we have obviously products around the office. We have training courses you can go on, and looking, the technology is amazing, and it's obviously it's giving people their hearing back. And obviously
Brilliant.
my granddad, he was hard of hearing when he was older, and he was a case of, you had to sort of shout to him. He had a hearing aid.
Yeah, my
Half the
mum
time,
was.
half the time he didn't turn it on, but it's a kind of, and I think also,
Yeah.
the company is like it's a caring company. We're there, obviously they have the philosophy of, obviously they're implanting on infants now. So obviously these infants could live to be over 100. So the company has to be here in 100 years' time
Yes.
to support them. So obviously, obviously you're not going to be doing that unless you're continuing to improve all the time. So it kind of, the whole company philosophy really fits with continuous improvement.
Fantastic. So what is the company's reach then? Are they worldwide then, or
Yep.
are they? Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. So it's headquartered in Australia. So the company, Australian company. But because I think it's sort of Graham Clark who actually invented the technology. We're actually, the company was formed through the actual inventor of the technology. We're worldwide. Kind of, we have global town hall meetings, which you can have twice. It's once a month, and you can go on it 2 times. It's either late in the evening here, or first thing in the morning, to kind of to reach. It's kind of, this is, it's kind of gone from the old company it became sort of a part of a global group, but
Yeah.
I mean, Cochlear is truly a sort of a global company. They're kind of, I'm involved in projects where they're looking sort of to expand even further. It's absolutely, the kind of, it's amazing to see, kind of, I guess sort of, I've never worked for a company this sort of size before, so it's kind of, it's quite mind blowing sometimes.
I'm not surprised. So I've just got a comment from Chris who's on, and he's just said, and I can tell, even though it says Facebook user, anything that counters deafness is great. It's such an isolating condition. My father is still in the denial stage with his hearing loss. Do you know? So we lost my mum in 2014, and I remember the very last conversation I had, and she was up in Halifax, and I took my laptop with me, and my brother had suggested to kind of just type questions, because I was having absolute nightmares, because it'd be kind of like, you are, what do you say? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is my daughter. And then I'd be like, Mom, I wasn't saying that. Anyway, so I remember typing in big type, in big typeface, kind of, hello, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. And then showing it to them. It's the best conversation we actually had before she passed herself.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing because obviously, I mean, they, we're privy to a lot of kind of the work that's done on the side about obviously promotion of sort of hearing loss. And I mean, they say obviously kind of the amount of people that kind of that have hearing problems and haven't got help, or even I think there's some sort of there's figures about the amount of people that have hearing aids but actually would be better with kind of these with stuff like the products that Cochlear do and that. But obviously, I think that there's just not the knowledge about it around the world. But obviously, there's something that as part of a company, it's not just a case of a company. It's kind of, yes, we're looking at profits. It is a case of kind of they work with a lot of sort of bodies and charities. Is that a case of trying to promote the sort of the fact of, yes, deafness is a problem. And I mean, I think they've done, in Chris's sort of comment, there are studies that have proven that actually kind of deafness has huge sort of mental health impact and that. I mean, so I mean, it's a case of actually work for this company. It's amazing. I mean, there are other companies that kind of I looked at, I had interviews for, but actually kind of I think it's one of those sort of things where kind of grateful, because I think this is a company that actually kind of if it fits them in. I do kind of I understand, because my granddad what did have obviously hearing problems. I mean, because my dad now, he's in his sort of late 70s, and he's sort of starting to have to talk a bit louder. And even my youngest, I mean, it's not, his ears are fine, but I think due to his ADHD that he struggles with his sort of that kind of hearing and listening. So so it's one of those sort of things where kind of I've through my life, I guess most of us have probably sort of experienced people with obviously hearing loss. But I think sometimes you sort of think, oh, it's part of getting old, it's fine. But it's fact of one of those sort of things where actually, you know what, we can all get help for it.
Yeah. Do you know what? I might scoff about my mum and take the mickey slightly, and she's not around to blooming say it. You shouldn't be talking to me about that now. But actually, I really wish there would have been an option for her to have something like that, because I agree. I think it's really isolating. It makes a kind of a massive difference people being able to speak. Hang on, we've got Sammy who's just come on live, so she's just saying hi. So hi, Sammy, nice to see you on here, my love. Nice to see you on here. But I do think it is massively isolating. But look, just tell me what if there is a typical day. What is a typical day for Simon Day? A typical Simon Day.
I think I think for me the best thing about continuous improvement is a typical day is, I'm not sure what's going to happen sometimes when I get in the morning. I mean, I might have sort of say 3 projects I'm sort of leading at a time. But it can be a case. I mean, obviously for them, I can be working on, say, a project with finance, a project with customer service, a project with logistics. So it's that kind of everything's completely different. I have to learn so much. I mean, I've done project with finance. I mean, my finance knowledge is kind of kind of taking money out of the bank and paying things, paying a bill. So it's a kind of but obviously trying to learn about some of these processes, and you kind of sitting there kind of going, what is this? But it's that thirst for knowledge, because you can learn about whatever you want. You can learn, and there's a project, I'll take that project if it's something that interests you. You kind of, I really fancy learning about that. So that's so interesting. I have that thirst for knowledge. I'll spend half my life sort of on Google. I think something will pop in my head and go, I'm going to research that. So for me, it's a case of, it's kind of whatever. Perhaps I might have a schedule and say, I'll probably end up doing these tasks these days, or I've got these couple of meetings. But even out of a project meeting, you might turn around and go, you've got different outcomes to what you expected. So it's generally a case. It'll be some project work. It may be a few sort of admin tasks. I support obviously some of our yellow belts in training. They've done their sort of a day training, but then
they do it internally, don't they?
Do that internally. Yeah. So then it's a case of they'll have a yellow belt course. about project to run.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be a case of giving them that support through the project. So it'll be a case of meeting up or having a call sort of once a month and just seeing what their progress is, and kind of perhaps having suggestions saying, maybe if you try this, maybe try that. Or a lot of time it's a case of they're saying, I don't know what tool to use here. I'm really unsure. It's kind of going, well, you could try one of these tools. Sometimes it's a case of, well, okay, we'll take this tool. You know what? We're going to modify it because it's nothing that quite fits what you're doing. So yeah, it's, I guess, one sort of things where you're never quite sure what's going to happen when you go in the morning. But it's always a pleasant adventure.
Yeah, and actually, though, that the fact that you've got this toolkit, you know, whether it's lean tools or whether it's Six Sigma tools or the whole toolkit together, it's massive, isn't it? So you can kind of go, one day I'm going to use that, and then I'm going to use, oh, actually we don't need to use the rest, we just need to use that and that, you know. And I just think it just having that understanding about what tool you can pull from your toolkit, it does make a massive difference, doesn't it? And I was going to say, so I worked when I first moved down south back in '95. I was working in finance. I know it's a long time ago. I was working in finance, and actually, it was funny because it wasn't until I kind of worked with, hang on, who was it? Yeah, so it was a company in Reading, and I'm not going to mention them, but but their billing processes were horrific. You know, so you'd actually have somebody. So if people don't understand about finance processes, like, you know, it was just kind of like, why are they doing that? There were massive big projects where the names of the or projects had stopped, or maintenance had stopped. So, you know, so you'd actually have a maintenance agreement to kind of keep the work going. And then that would stop, and then we were still billing them, and or actually they were, you know, we weren't billing them because we didn't have the right information. And it was just kind of like, oh my God. So the thing about continuous improvement, you can use it in any industry and learn so much, can't you?
Yeah.
You know, you've gone from a production environment to a, yes, I'm assuming, do they produce in Australia, or are the production facilities in the UK?
So production is Australia. I think they've got a new plant open in China. So yeah, there's a few production places around the world, mostly kind of in Asia. But yeah, I mean, but obviously stuff is shipped. We have kind of headquarters in sort of, so we have, so our site in Weybridge is the European distribution centre. So that's where all the product gets shipped out from there. We have obviously one over in America. So yeah, it's a case of, and then also we have sort of, especially in obviously Europe, we have sort of offices in probably most of the major countries. Obviously, that kind of customer service support and finance. So yeah, we have meetings, obviously project meetings, where we've kind of got perhaps someone from half the countries in Europe on board, and yeah, so you get to meet so many people and just kind of get lots of different sort of information. To be honest, we kind of find out, actually, kind of, you're almost finding out differences in countries. It's not necessarily, and sometimes you're kind of going, why is everyone doing it this way? And we had one, and a turned and said, this is the way we've always done it. And to me, when someone says this is the way we've always done it, it's a case of, it's almost a case of, can you not swear at me, please? that is not a word that we use here. And then don't use that phrase. Stop it now. Yeah, it's my sort of thing. That's like a red flag, kind of going, well, if that's the way we've always done it, that's probably the wrong way then. And it is kind of, I think then you kind of get that, it's almost not, sometimes see it in their eyes, sometimes hear it in their voice. It's that kind of, you sort of see that where it something clicks, and they're kind of going, oh yes, and then you kind of start saying, okay, well, let's look at it together. Let's try and find the best way to do it. And they're kind of, and like when you come through the other side, and they're kind of going, how do we not see this before? And that lot, they're kind of, oh, why couldn't we have done this before? And you kind of get, and it's that kind of, I think that's almost the reward out of it. It's seeing these people, and they're kind of going, it's that kind of, you've made my job so much easier, or my job's going to be a little bit easier now. I'm going to have that little bit more time for this next thing. Oh, when can you come and have a look at this for us, please, to make that better?
And I think the thing is, people, you don't know what you don't know. That's one thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, sometimes you can be so close to what you're doing. You know, it's in your face, isn't it? And actually, there's, you know, you either don't have the time to see how to do it differently. You just kind of it's like being that hamster in a wheel. I always use this one. You know, you got a hamster, you just kind of go, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And you know that you've got to get work out in time. You know, if you've got kind of targets or KPIs, key performance indicators to meet, then you've got to do it. So it isn't until people take that step back and then they learn these tools and kind of go, like you're saying, oh my God. Oh, you're on mute again.
I hit that by accident. I didn't even do it on purpose. But yeah, I think that's part of the thing is the case. I find is kind of when you're in the middle, because I used to be like that in my old job. It's kind of when you're kind of in the middle of it all and you're just swamped. You're trying to get things out. It's you don't see these things, and it is that kind of being able to take that step back. And a lot of time people perhaps either aren't or don't feel able to take that step back because it's that kind of they feel like they're firefighting. So that's when someone like me can come in and say, come on, okay, let's take a step back. Or is that kind of we're going to sit down and we're going to map this process. And be honest, I was doing that today with our customer service team. There's one of the process which I'd got all the sort of work instructions. I'm reading it. I'm kind of going, I'm not understanding these work instructions, and we kind of, but basically we ran through this process kind of as a test, and we mapped out. I'm sitting there kind of going, this has got half the number of steps as I pulled off this work instruction, and it's the correct way round. And it is that kind of, they're kind of going, I can't do this. Everything's too much. You kind of, and that's where we come in and kind of go, okay, well, let's take a step back. Let's kind of give you that time. I mean, to be honest, I'm trying to work with my sister because she's a self-employed translator, and she's having kind of she's struggling. And I've kind of be honest, September she came over and we sat down and had a chat. I said, try these 3 things for me, okay, these will help you. And that sort of a couple months later, it's a case of, so how have you got on? I didn't have the time to do it. I said, well, the first one, that would actually save you time straight away. It wouldn't cost you any time. It save you time. But it's that sort of thing. Is that moment that kind of, I'm swamped. I haven't got time to sit back and try things. So is that kind of, okay, let's try and do a few little things now so we can find that time. And there is that. That's the one, I guess, the biggest enemy I've come across is when people say I haven't got the time to do it. I can't find the time. You're saying please just find that 5 minutes. Find some time now because it's going to save you hours, if not days, kind of down the line. It's that bit. People are so kind of that focus of I have to hit these. I have to hit the KPIs now. I can't spend any time on it. But the moment they do spend that little bit of time, they suddenly they're kind of, why didn't I do that before? Or thank you so much for making me do that. And it's like things. And then they kind of, because as soon as they've got that the wheel starting to roll, then suddenly you just see them and they're like whoosh, and it's kind of like, wow, things are so much better so quickly.
But that's what you were like, wasn't it? You were like Speedy Gonzales once you got it. And I think maybe us working together initially to start off with, or me kind of, would you call me a mentor? I don't know whether I think I mentored you a bit, didn't I? You know, out of everybody, me and you kind of like, I was like, right, we were having chats and things like that, you know, and just kind of going through stuff. And we were both on the same.
Both at break time, weren't we?
Both on the same level, you know, and I could see where you were heading, you know, and no disrespect to your previous, you know, company, but I could see what you were made for, you know, and I've got to say, I am absolutely, and I said this to you before, I am chuffed to bits that you are where you are. It's why I do what I do, you know, and I'm not bigging myself up or anything like that. I just, you know, I just think it's absolutely fantastic, honestly. Chris has just made a comment earlier. Hang on. So he just said, investment into the administration and support side when companies expand is often horribly underfunded. Sorry. It's all about sales, but no way to facilitate it. And then clients get angry. I've seen that so much. And the other thing is, so I've also seen a company, this same company in Reading, where they had their salesman, even now, and I don't know what Cockley is like, and obviously we can't kind of go into stuff, but they had their salesman still on commission that I was seeing when in the 1990s, you know, where you've got sales guys who were on commission, and therefore they wanted to meet their targets and sold any old tut. you know, and I'm not saying that with Cochlear at all, you know, but I think in some companies that is what you get. People just don't invest in the infrastructure, and it makes a massive difference if you can do that. So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think for us, obviously, we're kind of yes, medical products. I think the philosophy of the company is a caring company. It's not. I mean, obviously, every company obviously needs to have profits and that. But us, I mean, you look at the whole philosophy from like the core values to everything. It is all about kind of obviously they know. Our company knows that kind of the recipients who have these devices. I mean, it's not a case of we have competition. So it's a case of we need to look after them. So we do like our customer service is a case of is being there for them, which is obviously why trying to help the customer service and make that experience better, because it is we were talking about obviously the customer experience, which I think obviously a lot of companies do miss, and it is a case of it's all about the customer experience. If you've got a happy customer, then you know what, you haven't got to worry as much, and then that because they're going to keep coming back, they're going to keep recommending people if they're happy, and that I think perhaps there is a big difference between perhaps buying, I don't know, it's like a sound bar for your TV, which the sound quality is okay, but you know you can get by with, then perhaps having something that's going to be fitted into your skull, kind of probably for the rest of your life.
absolutely.
Yes, I think kind of I feel like that's but be honest, that's why I think I went to sort of Cochlear, was the fact of it's a company that seemed to match my principles, and I think that's
Oh,
something I
totally
think that's
get
something
you.
that really helps. I think kind of there's a lot of time we kind of go, I need a job, I'll just get any job. And I think comes something for me. I feel I feel so grateful because I've got a job role I love, doing something that I love, and I'm with a company where actually people people seem to be on the same sort of wavelength, and it seems to be a company that matches sort of my core values, and I think that's kind of to me. I feel like I have hit the jackpot there.
I feel all mushy now. I really feel like I want to give you a big virtual hug. Honestly, it's just so chuffed for you. Because I like to try and finish around
Yeah.
like kind of quarter to, but so I've got a couple of things to ask you. So you've kind of answered one of the. Actually, do you know what? So go on. What is the one thing that you can say is the best thing about the overall best thing about the job? Is it kind of what you've just said, or
Yeah, but I'm not. It's hard to say one thing. I think it is. I think part of it is that kind of is when you've kind of made these improvements. Is that kind of seeing the effect it has on the people, and to me, the improvement is all. The bit I get out of improvement, and the thing I focus on is the way it helps the people. And then, there is something about we've halved this process. Okay, that's brilliant. But for me, it's the case of okay, the people on the shop floor, how how has it help them? Because obviously, I think for me, I used to be that person on the shop floor, and I know kind of like actually, it might actually be like halving a process time. Something is a case. What, we'll change this tool to something that will make it quicker, or perhaps changing toolboxes so we can find a screwdriver in a second rather than having to kind of fling out about 300 screwdrivers till you finally find that one you need. So that for me is very much that people, but it's an element of seeing kind of that effect, that positive effect it's had on them. So see that smile on their face and that kind of thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Final question then.
Yeah.
If I asked you if there's somebody out there that ends up watching this, whether it's on replay or I'm sharing it or whatever, because I forgot to say we're actually live on YouTube as well. So, oh no, don't be look scared like that. Not many people watch my YouTube. But anyway, so what I was going to say was, if there was one key piece of advice that you could give with anybody wanting to sort of like start on a continuous improvement journey, whether that is to just introduce it in their company or even just to kind of improve their own understanding and knowledge, what would you suggest to start with?
Well, I'd say obviously do one of your courses, Liz.
Oh, I love you. Correct answer. I wasn't really priming you for that. I really wasn't.
I think I think kind of for me it's that kind of just if it's that kind of maybe just read up on something. You don't have to know it all at once. It's a kind of you can just learn one tool. I'd say almost say just if you read up on the waist, the eight waist, if you read up on that, that is kind of, I think, because that's basically what I look. That's the first thing that I read out was the waist, because I think a lot of time if you read about that and you can relate it to what you're doing, then you will suddenly start. I mean, you can probably do. You'll probably end up doing a lot of the improvements, which you'll be able to, which you'll do kind of 3 years down the line when you've done lots of training, because it's just once you've done that training, it will give you that greater knowledge of what it means, and kind of perhaps you might get there a bit quicker. But I think those 8 wastes, those are the bits that kind of, for me, really kind of started me, and I suddenly going, yes, kind of, yes, waiting around, waiting and that lot. Transportation, it's kind of, I don't want to wait around. I don't want to be having to sort of do like 20,000 steps a day when I only have to do 10,000 sort of thing. So yeah, I think that's probably for me is learn about the sort of the wastes and that, and I think you'll start getting it, you'll start putting into practice, and then hopefully things will then start to kind of click, and you'll go, I want to know more, and then you can start learning more.
Brilliant. So I'm just checking that we are still live. It's all right. That's why I keep looking over here, because I've got my screen. And actually, I'm going to show one book that I think I showed. So if anybody is interested, and this isn't me plugging it at all, I just think it's a damn good book. You can see that. Did I tell you about that first? Yeah, Lean for Dummies. It's literally probably about 15 quid on Amazon. Or Lean Six Sigma for Dummies, whichever one. But that, as you can see, look, it's got really loads of dodgy old post-its in, and actually just learning or just reading that's a really easy read, and stuff that you can kind of just pick up and use as you go along. So I think it just makes a massive difference. But look, we've slightly run over. But do you know what? It's been so lovely to have you on here live without drilling in the background.
Or kids screaming.
Or, well, exactly. If there were kids screaming, I didn't hear any of it because we were talking. But I really, really appreciate it. But listen, Simon, absolute joy to talk to you. One day I'll get you in here as well.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Liz.
Oh, lovely. And so you hang on, but I'm going to actually play the outro. Say goodbye, everybody. Bye everybody. Have a good week. See you later.